What does it take to be a great teacher? Great teachers do it all. They have to. Across all ages, languages, ethnicities, and subjects, teachers are and need to be some of the most widely skilled people around in order to be successful. A day in the life of a teacher can vary greatly depending on the subject and grade level in which they teach. From kindergarten to high school and special education to statistics, one theme runs consistently throughout every great teacher's career. Their job does not end with the school day. A great teacher may also attend conferences, network with other teachers, and engage in continuing education to stay at the forefront of their specialty. Great teachers teach, and we all know that. Great teachers also do so much more. Great teachers motivate, inspire, and lead. Great teachers change lives. This past year, we had an exceptional group of Rookie of the Year teachers. We hope their experiences will assist you in becoming an amazing teacher here in Galena Park ISD.
First year has been all sorts. It's been challenging, it's been fun, definitely no monotony at whatsoever. Every day has been different. Sometimes I come in with a certain expectation and it comes out a different way, mostly for the good. It's been really good working with all sorts of our administration. They've been very supportive, which has been a big help.
First year was very good, very much a learning experience. It was awesome to be able to get to know new kids. I was at a school previously with a different type of even demographic. So being able to be here was a new experience and just an overall just fun being able to fun time being able to meet the new staff and the new kids and kind of the whole new district in a whole. So.
I honestly think it went very well. I got a lot of positive feedback. I know areas that I need to work in, especially like differentiation with my students. But as far as, my feedback from my kids, I think it went rather well. And then even with the district and our scores.
It had its ups and downs, I'm not gonna lie. There was some very high highs and there were some low lows, but I think the highs outweigh the lows, fortunately.
It's been going good. It's been, I would say, to describe it, unpredictable. In the beginning of the year, I was a full self-contained teacher, and that's what I prepared for. That's what they had told me. But of course, things happen, and we had, I think, more students were at another school, so they needed to move our last hired to another campus. So when that happened, they split up her kids and ended up, I became partner teaching, so I departmentalized, so I had to prepare for that.
Just, I guess, motivating the kids went really well. I hear that's a struggle sometimes, especially halfway through the year, towards the end of the year. It's a big struggle. So something that went really well was just every time I was positive and energetic, the kids kind of mirrored that. So I think that was kind of the thing that has helped me the most, because they are still motivated and it's, almost May.
Right, even though I teach PE, I started a gentleman's club here on campus. I notice the types of backgrounds my students come from, their personalities, and I gathered 15 boys and we all got together, kind of started a brotherhood. We teach a lot of character, education, how to be great citizens, how to be kind to people, show compassion, and really it's just how to be a man, how to develop themselves as a person. Always show good character, respect your elders, respect women, their sisters or mothers. Even though I'm in the gym, I went a little bit above my work expectations and just started this club and we kicked it off. It's been great.
I think my classroom management didn't go as I expected, but it was something that went better than I was, expecting it to be. So I think that's one of the things that, from what I was told to expect, I think went really, really much better than how it was.
I believe it was the lesson planning. I gave myself a lot of time to plan, and my university prepared me for that. Going back to UHD, the classes that they provided for me, the experience they gave me, the hours that I had to be in a classroom helped me create lessons that were very on point and successful with the TEKS and the objectives and framing the lesson. And we created numerous amounts of lesson plans and activities. So I could say that lesson planning was one of the most easiest. And as a teacher, you have to be on the fly, right? And you have to be able to change things very quick. And they throw different things at you. They throw ceremonies at you, award ceremonies, they throw you pep rallies at you, and adjusting your teaching, your lessons, and your activities around that is very difficult for some, especially if they're not well managed in time. But for me, I felt like it was the opposite. I felt like I did very good. If they threw something at me right away, I'd improvise, right? And that's one of the things about teaching is you have to be you have to be flexible and very good at adjusting according to schedule. So I feel like that was one of the best things that I was pretty good at.
Honestly, handling my 504 students, being able to instruct them in ways that truly help them. And of course, we have their binders that list their different accommodations, but to teach them, one-on-one as a student, having that available time, that extra time for them, and giving them these different resources. I don't think that I was adequately prepared for that. And I wish that I just could have either be it with my mentor or with the different workshops, if that could have been implemented more, just how you instruct your 504 students.
The culture shock of, since our school is mainly Hispanic, and so it's a whole different culture than what I'm accustomed to. And so a lot of the just different mannerisms with a lot of the kids just being from a predominantly Hispanic culture was something to adopt, which was encouraging because my Spanish is a lot better now. It still needs work though, but it's getting there.
Probably the workload outside of teaching in the classroom, like lesson planning and meetings and T-tests and just extra paperwork that you kind of weren't aware of before, or like LEP, things you had to handwrite, and just aside from teaching, kind of that kind of stuff.
One thing that I wasn't prepared for was the fact that every now and then you're gonna get a student who just is not into it. And it's very, very, very hard to get him or her into what everyone else is into. Because you imagine yourself, like one day when I'm a teacher, things are gonna be so awesome. You picture yourself in the ideal classroom, but it's not always gonna be ideal. And so one thing that I should have been better mentally prepared for was the fact that things aren't always going to go perfectly.
The paperwork. The paperwork overload, I think that's the only thing that my university didn't really prepare me for. Besides, in the university, you do all these essays and assignments, but the paperwork, that was the only thing.
All the meetings. I was not prepared for all the meetings, especially within the first few weeks of school, just because you're so overwhelmed already with trying to get your room set up, trying to get everything prepared. I understand why they have meetings, because they just want to make sure that we've got all the information. But yeah, all the meetings and all the different expectations, because you're pulled in so many directions, and just trying to get a hold of everything, trying to absorb everything. And it's pretty much where They always gave us this analogy with your mouth open and a fire hose running, trying to catch all that water. So you're trying to absorb everything. So I was not expecting all that.
Do not hesitate or do not be afraid to give them not more instructions, but be very specific to when you're talking to your students, because sometimes even though you cannot assume that they know or that they already know this or something like that, you always have to just be very specific and consistent when you do something, so they know that the expectations, and once you're consistent and they know your expectations, I mean, the year just go be a breeze.
I definitely spoke with a lot of the veteran teachers prior to coming in and seeing what worked for them. Another good thing that I did, just asking lots and lots of questions. Again, going back to the veteran teachers, I asked them as far as, what has worked for you? What has not worked for you? So just kind of learning from their mistakes definitely helped coming in. You definitely have to come in with a firm attitude, because you've got to set that tone that this is my classroom, this is how it's gonna be. You don't have to be overly, but to that point that you mean what you say and I say what I mean type of attitude. From there, and then you can kind of relax as time progresses and you build those relationships. I think after maybe the first week or so, I went during my conference periods and I would go into the different classrooms and kind of see how the teachers actually worked in their classroom with the students, and that definitely helped me a lot. And just getting more of that in class, I guess, not necessarily one-on-one, but in class overview of what, how they ran their classroom. So that definitely helped as well.
So there's one big piece of advice that I have, and it seems like something that's minor, but I think it actually makes a difference. I always refer to my students as yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and that really demonstrates to them that I respect them. And it goes back to that whole, you gotta be respectful in order to get respect. So, I'm giving them respect, so they're gonna give it back. They respect me in turn, because it seems very small, but by them hearing that, they realize, okay, Mr. Labour respects me, he cares about me. He doesn't just think I'm another student. When they hear that sir or ma'am, that matters to them.
Student management has to do, I think, with your relation with the student. You gotta personalize the educational experience, get to know them, get to know where they come from, their siblings, things that matter to them. Interact with them. If they like basketball, shoot a couple hoops with them. They like soccer, pass the ball back and forth. Build that connection with them so they can work for you or with you. They can work alongside with you, and you'll see a behavioral change completely on them if they can trust you, and if they know that you're there, you're a support system for them. Then their behavioral they will cooperate and do as you say.
I think you should still be kind and encouraging, because there's a difference between being just mean and strict and having control like that, or having control but still maintaining a positive environment. I think there is a fine line. But the main thing is, you're in charge and you're here to help them, because the more I offer to help students, the better they behave in my room. So I think that's kind of the main thing. Develop a relationship, not just, listen to me, be quiet, sit down. Just more of the relationship, say their names, and that response, or for me, it has worked really well.
Oh, student management. One of the things I learned and one of the things I really appreciate is procedures. Having the kids know what to do and when to do it in the beginning of the school year. When you're stern in a way, or more of someone who does not take anything from kids in the beginning, it's so much easier, which is interesting, because you want to be their friends. You want to be, especially as a new teacher, you want to be someone who's their friend and that they like you, but then you give up a lot of ground in the beginning. And so being able to be stern and have the kids know what you want them to do initially is so vital. And so later on, they'll be able to know what they're supposed to do and when to do it and why they're doing it. and they know you mean business in a way, which is, first we're educators and teachers, and then we can be friends and something second. So
I would say lay down, your expectations. Lay them down, make them clear and concise, and leave no room for any doubt or any gray areas. Let them know what your expectations are and hold them to that expectation. Hold them to it. And keep them high. Have those high standards, but of course, be flexible. Kids do need that flexibility, but, have your standards and they'll meet it each time. Encourage them to meet it and they will.
Student management, be firm from day one, right? Be firm from day one and really deliver your message on what you expect from your students since day one, and remind them constantly, consistently throughout the year of what you expect from them, right? So you set expectations high the first day of school, and they're gonna want to satisfy your expectations. They're gonna want to make you proud, right? So they're gonna work to get up there and hit those expectations and not exceed them. So since day one, I've been tough on my kids, 5th grade students, right? So it's very difficult to catch them in that preteen era, that preteen stage. So since day one, I was firm, I was strong in my belief in that a disciplined classroom is a successful classroom. Some of them took time for some to get adjusted to such discipline, right? Being a male teacher, I was kind of intimidating to some, just because they had never encountered such a disciplined teacher. So I was very hard on them since day one. So that's one of the main things that's very important in the classroom is discipline, because you want to be able to manage your class while you're delivering an activity or a lesson. So classroom management is very important, and it starts with day one.